Hello, in this video I'm going to be telling you, as the title of the video suggests, how we made 100K from a single viral Instagram video. And I'm going to walk through all the steps that essentially we took to do that, all the things you have to keep in mind, and if you want to do that yourself. And the goal of this video is obviously to show you what kind of content performs on Instagram and to actually monetize for coaching offers and high ticket offers in general. And so we have a few steps here which are sort of tailored towards this very specific piece of content. And I'm going to go through each one step by step, the things you got to know before actually doing that content, the content itself, and also the reasons why that worked so that you know exactly how to replicate it for yourself if you want to do that. So let's get right into it. So let me just zoom in over here and show you. So this is the client that we did it for, actually Cardinal Mason. He's a client and a friend of mine. He runs a copywriting coaching offer. I'm doing in the region of 500 to 600K a month in high ticket sales. And this was the video here that generated over 100K. Actually, to be clear, this video has been posted for like over 2 or 3 months. And so it was 100K within like the first couple of weeks. So since then, who knows how much is generated. But I'll show you the video specifically about exactly what the video was. And that's it. That's literally the video. And I understand that that's it might be a little bit, what's the word? It might be a little bit disheartening, discouraging, because it's literally zero point 0.5 seconds long. But that's part of the strategy. You can see 107K likes here. It did 18 million views. And I understand, like I said, it might be a little bit disheartening to, why is my face gone? I'm back. Hey. Might be a bit disheartening to know that a 0.5 second video brought in over 100K, but it just shows you how easy things can be. But it's not as simple as just posting a 0.5 second video. There are actually some nuances to it. So I'll actually get into the specifics of the nuances of that video, why it worked, and how to do it yourself in just a second. But if you don't have these things in place, you're not going to be able to make a penny. Even if you have a billion viewed video, you won't make a penny. Okay. And so you have to have these three things in place if you want to essentially make a lot of money from your content in general, not just from a single video. But you need to be in a high paying niche and offer. Okay. So if your offer is not in like health, wealth, relationships, you're going to have a hard time essentially selling this high level of income, because these are just the niches that people want to spend money in. They have the biggest problems relating to their health, wealth, and relationships. And those are the areas where people will spend the most to fix those problems. And so if your offer is not in that niche, I've seen it countless times. People have, hundreds of thousands of followers, but they're not in any of these niches, and they're wondering why they're not, making millions a year. It's because people don't care to spend that much money on things that don't really fall in these three buckets, unfortunately. Another thing you always have to do is sell high ticket. I don't know why people are getting on like the bandwagon of like school groups and all this other shit. Don't sell low ticket. The only way low ticket works is if you're spending a shitload on paid ads. Even then, most people are breaking even as a strategy. Don't recommend it. And two, the only way low ticket works is if you have a massive following of millions of followers and you have a lot of people to buy your thing. If you're mass market and you're super famous and you have a lot of followers, then you can afford to essentially charge, have a product that is a lot cheaper. That's why you see all the celebrities, they're not selling like high ticket services. They're selling, $100 bottles of tequila, $30 bottles of whiskey. They're selling like muscle sprays and makeup. They're selling stuff that like the masses can actually afford. And the reason they can do that is because they have millions or hundreds of millions of followers. You don't have that. Most people don't have that. If you have 100K or less, or a few 100K followers, even up to a million or so, you want to sell high ticket. If you sell high ticket, $1 million, years, $1 million months, 100K from one video is very much possible. If you sell 5K thing, that's 20 people from, to hit 100K, and 20 people out of 18 million views, as a percentage is really low, but still 100K is 100K. The second thing you got to know is you have to have good brand positioning, right? People are not buying your coaching and they're not buying your knowledge. Okay, that's a huge fallacy, huge misconception that people are making in the coaching space. They're like, well, I know the most. I have the best knowledge. I'm smarter than that other guru. Why is he making more money than me? Well, the reason why he makes more money than you is because he understands, or she understands, that People do not buy your knowledge. They don't really care how much you know. They care about what your lifestyle is. They care about, they are buying you. They need to see their future selves in you right now. If you don't have the life that they want, if you're not showing, the lifestyle, the cars, the travel, the whatever like the lifestyle is that your ideal customer wants, it could be wife and kids, could be a cabin in the woods, whatever it is. If your avatar does not see themselves wanting to be like you, you're not going to make sales. And this is why this particular brand works so well with Mason, is because he sells essentially the lifestyle and the dream to young guys to have the Ferrari in Miami and have hot chicks and go to the club and be rich, fly private, have nice watches. That's just what his avatar wants, and that's why they buy it, because he gives that feeling. So you got to take it from hell to heaven. So they're in a shitty place. They're in hell right now. And can you take them to heaven? Are you already in their heaven? Okay. So if they're in hell and they're looking up at you in heaven, they're like, damn, like he obviously knows how to be where I want to be. Therefore, I got to buy his stuff. I got to listen to what he says, right? Are you aspirational? Same thing. You're in heaven. They're in hell. They want to be in heaven. Are you relatable? It's another big thing. Also depends on your niche. If you are, selling to a very skeptical audience, like much older people, for example, you want to make sure that you're very relatable and not too over the top and not too, scam vibes. Very important, very difficult to kind of draw that line. Some people go over it, but you got to be relatable. At the very least, you have to have in your story, you have to have been in their shoes, right? If you had a kind of a good come up story where you were broke and poor, had all these problems, and now you're successful, you overcame all these challenges along the way, then that makes you relatable, because you can inject that into your content, inject that into your marketing, and people can then see that you're not just in their heaven and they're in hell, but you have walked the path from hell. You were once in hell, and then you walked the path to heaven, and you know the way to go. Therefore, they're going to pay you to get on that path to get where you currently are, right? And you make it seem simple, right? Like, you don't necessarily need to make something seem easy, but you should make it sound simple, right? Like, and I hope you can see the difference between those two things. Easy and simple do not mean the same thing, right? Like, you could do the most difficult workout of your life, right? Which wouldn't be easy, but all you're really doing is like a few exercises, bench press and squats. Like, it's a very simple workout, but it could be the most difficult workout you've ever done in your life, right? So you want to make sure that you make the process seem simple as possible. If it's not clear what you're doing, if it's not clear what you're offering these people, if the path to get to heaven is not clear and obvious, they're not gonna resonate. They're not gonna buy from you. They're not gonna want to do your thing, because it just seems too complex. The more simple your offer, the more simple the path to get to where they want to be is, and the way that's communicated in your offer, that it is simple, the more sales you're going to get, right? The more conversions you're going to get. And are you transparent with evidence of your success? Okay. Can you show screenshots of your revenue dashboard? Can you show results from other clients, from other students? Can you show that you actually did do the thing that you are claiming that you did? And can you show that publicly? The more you can show results and receipts and proof publicly, the better you're going to do, the better you're going to perform, and people are going to trust you more. More trust makes the sale a lot easier, okay? And remember, these are the things you have to have in place before the content is going to work. You could put out content and not have these things work. It's just not, and it might work a little bit, but it's not going to work 100K from a single video kind of work, right? It needs to work. These need to be in place for it to work super well. Okay, and the third thing, sales systems, right? If you don't have sales systems, you could have billions of views and you will get literally $0 collected, okay? You have to have sales systems in place. If you are getting traffic, you have to have a way to capture it and convert it into sales, okay? So do you have a way to activate your followers and viewers into leads? And by activate, I mean, do you have a way to make them raise their hand and say, I am interested in your thing, right? That can manifest in many ways. It could be through a funnel. It could be through an Instagram story where you're asking people to DM you. It could be having them interact on a poll that when you say, do you want to do X, Y, Z, or do you want a six pack? Yes, I do. Boom. And then you have someone message them. Anyway, when I say activate a follower or a viewer into a lead, it's any way that you can get them to raise their hand and say, I'm interested to some degree in this thing. Okay. Do you have a setter? if you're kind of on the lower level, like you could do it yourself. It's not that difficult to get in Instagram, send some DMs, and respond to people. It's actually, I advise to do that in the beginning, because you can actually then you can figure out what the best script is, what the best flow is, and then you can kind of go from there. Usually with clients, like I actually really get hands-on with the setting process in the beginning, to see what the exact best script is. We tweak it from prospect to prospect. We try a different approach until we find the general approach that is working really well for that niche. But in general, you should be building a script or a flow that, is proven to book calls. And it will generally go through this particular flow here, these 4 blue points. The first one is awareness of the opportunity, meaning, are they aware of what this thing is and how it even works? Like, hey, do you know how, do you know what copywriting is? Do you know what Amazon FBA is? Or would you like me to give you a brief explanation, right? And then they might say, no, I don't understand. I would love an explanation. And then you can give them the copy pasted explanation, right? You want to find out what their location is. Are they living in the US, UK, any first world country, or are they living in the middle of, like, I don't know, the Chinese jungle, right? You need to make sure that the people you're pitching are in, a good location, because that's obviously a fit in terms of income. In general, obviously generalizations, but in general, people that don't live in first world countries do not have $5,000 to spend on a program or $10,000 to spend on a program. It's just the way it is, right? Income, you have to verify their income. Are they currently working? Are they making money with their business? What's their revenue? Things of that nature. And then finally, you have to find out their willingness or their ability to invest at the offer price point, okay? It's all very well and good if they're in all the right, if they live in the USA and they're aware of your thing and they have a little bit of income, but if they're not willing to spend $5,000, there's no point putting them on your closer's calendar. It's just going to waste everybody's time, okay? So you want to get a rough idea if they're willing and able to invest the level of money that you want them to actually invest, right? So what we do for one of our FBA offers, Amazon FBA, is we say, hey, yeah, we can talk more details about it on a call, referring to the mentorship. But just for full transparency, you need at least, I think it's 5K. You need at least 5K to invest in product inventory in order to make this work. Is that an amount of money you're comfortable with? And they'll either say yes or no. And then if they say no, then we just send them to our cheaper thing. We say, like, it's not the mentorship is not a fit. But if they say yes, then obviously they come pre-vetted into the call with, like, okay, I need to spend at least 5K on inventory. And the general theory is, if someone has 5K and is willing to spend 5K on something, they probably have a lot more money, like, somewhere else that they could spend extra on the mentorship, right? Because if the mentorship is 5K, they probably have a few grand elsewhere to put into product inventory as well. And so you have to ask these questions to sort of feel out what their level of ability and willingness to invest is, right? So you also want to have booked call email flows to answer FAQs, pre-handle objections. So when someone books a call, you want to have email flows that go out to pre-handle their objections, answer any FAQs about the product, the service, whatever. You want to have booked call email and SMS reminders, reduce your no-shows. You want to have setters calling and texting the leads the day before / the day of the call to triple confirm they will show up. It's not just like, if you book a call last week and they're getting on today, they probably forget about it. Even if they book a call for 2 days from now, they probably forget about it. You want to get your setter, especially if they're commission only, they are personally invested in getting this person to show up so they can close. So you need to get them to call them the day before the day. I was like, hey, you still good for the call? Just double confirming. Boom, good. Okay, they're coming. Okay, you need to get the triple confirmation. Okay, and finally, is your closer actually good at sales? I've seen so many times where literally an offer is, they're getting sales calls and they're getting some sales, and they just replaced the closer and the revenue went crazy. Right? A lot of times your closer can be your bottleneck if he is not good enough at actually selling. You want to make sure that he is hitting his KPIs. If he's not hitting his KPIs, you bring somebody else in and you tell him, like, look, I've brought this other dude in here to compete against you. He is here to take your job. If you do not beat him, he will literally take all of the calls that you're currently taking so I can make more money. Salespeople, you have to put like a fire under their ass. If you don't put a fire under their ass, they just don't perform super well. So the content, so you already watched the video, 0.5 seconds, little weird thing, but it was a trend, and that was a big reason why it worked, okay? So these are the stats, just to let you know. So it was 18.8 million views as of recording this video, 20,000 comments, 40,000 shares, and 150,000 likes. You can see, well, that's 107,000 likes. You got that wrong. But actually 30,000 comments and 15,000 shares. Stats are wrong here. My bad. But still, crazy stats nonetheless. And so why did this content work? Okay. The first reason and the biggest reason it worked is it capitalized on current trending sound and a trending format, which is always a huge opportunity. Okay. If you see that a lot of people are doing the same kind of content, and with these trends, you have a window of about 7 days to hop on. I could literally show you the text when I sent it to the client, like, we got to do this, right? It's literally like, you have 7 days to do this, or then it's not worth it, right? And we jumped on it immediately. We recorded it and got it done. There's always these trends that come around once every few months, and once you can get on one, they are the easiest million views plus you ever have in your life, and the amount of leads that come into your business are next level. But you have to have the content set up in the right way, which I will explain here. So it's 0.5 seconds with this one, but what we did to improve the effectiveness was write a really long caption. So by the time people clicked the caption and they read all the way to the bottom, the 0.5 second video had looped literally probably 20 or 30 times per person, which obviously then increased its efficiency in the algorithm and sent it out to way more people, right? Millions more people. This is why it got 18.8 million views, right? Then at the end of that caption, we had a CTA to comment for the next steps, or if they want to get interested, if they're interested in learning about the opportunity to get into the mentorship. We had like 20,000 people or something, 30,000 people comment that keyword. And then the setter, like I said earlier, you need a setter. Then the setter would go through and they would message everybody. They have an automation on the back, ManyChat, that sends the first message. And then after that, the setter takes over, qualifies, gets people booked on calls, and closes. Okay. You have to make sure that whenever you're setting people from comments, especially, you want to really heavily income and intent qualify, because a comment hand raiser is a lower intent hand raiser than a direct DM. Okay. If you put a direct pitch on your IG story and you said, DM me this keyword to apply for mentorship, those are some of the highest intent leads that you could possibly get, right? A comment is a little bit lower intent, so you have to make sure your setter is really qualifying everybody before booking them on. It's like, you got to straight up ask them, like, this costs this amount of money. Can you pay that? Yes or no? If they say no, you do not let them on the calendar, okay? And once you book the call with super qualified people, then you get the close, okay? So all of this doesn't work unless you have these three things in place: the high paying niche and high price offer, high ticket offer. Your brand positioning is on point. People can actually see they want to be in your shoes, and they can see that you were in their shoes at one point in your life. So they can see the pathway and that you have the map, you have the roadmap to actually get to the place they want to be. And through your sales systems. If you don't have sales systems in place, you're simply just not going to monetize, right? So you have to have all of these three things. And once you then actually do get the content that slaps, that bangs, that has all of these factors involved, and obviously it changes content by content. But once you have a video that pops up like this one did, then you're able to make the 100K from a single video, probably a couple 100K more since the time it was posted. So if you want me to help you with this, I hope you enjoyed the video, by the way. Make sure to subscribe and like and all that stuff. But if you want me to work with you, here's my shameless pitch. If you don't want me to pitch you, just leave the video. But if you're interested in working with me, just listen for another 30 seconds. So if you're a rich business owner and you want to get richer by growing an audience on Instagram to sell your products to, I will help you do that. Okay. My own audience is over 150,000 followers across platforms, not on YouTube. I'm small here. And I'm responsible for millions and more followers across my clients. Okay. It doesn't matter if you have an audience already or you're already starting from a smaller number. If you have a business that is making money, I can help you. Okay. So I'm currently opening spots for my 60-day viral sprint program. And if you want to get your Instagram growth off the ground in the shortest time frame possible, there is a link in the description. There's no opt-in. You literally just go straight to a video where I pitch you again. You see all the details of the program. You see the pricing. You see everything. And from there, you can decide to apply, book a call. But if not, all good. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.